Serving as the homeworld for the sinister and antagonistic House Harkonnen in Frank Herbert's long-running epic Dune, the planet of Giedi Prime, later named Gamu, is a dark and dismal world overrun by relentless greed and brutal exploitation. Vast industrial complexes span the majority of the planet's surface, facilitating the stripping and processing of the planet's natural resources for shipment off-world. Beyond the walls of these cities stretch blackened volcanic terrain consisting of jagged basaltic mountains, obsidian plains, and ashen dunes, with the only color being the red glow of the occasional fissure eruption or active lava flow. It is rumored that oceans once covered around 50% of the planet's surface, but this has since been reduced significantly to meet the insatiable needs of Giedi Prime's immense industrialization and desperate populace. What few bodies of water remain have been heavily polluted by centuries of industrial waste and urban runoff, leaving them too oily and toxic to be of any value. The only native vegetation remaining on the planet is a handful of polygonum tree forests, which persist only because the wood they produce is so highly prized by the artisans of other worlds. Due to the small amount of light reaching the planet's surface, these trees are only able to maintain a low level of photosynthesis, leaving the production of oxygen needed to sustain the planet's inhabitants the responsibility of the city's terraforming machinery. Virtually no geophysical data has been recorded for Giedi Prime, though one unreliable source places the planet's surface gravity at 1.09 g. If this is the case, and we assume a mean density for the planet of 5 grams per cubic centimeter, then Giedi Prime would be around 20% larger than Earth, with a mass 57% higher. Giedi Prime is reported to be the third planet of 3 in the system and orbits its parent star with a period of 949.65 days, or 728.86 local days, given the planet's 31.27-hour synodic rotation period. It is uncertain exactly what star Giedi Prime orbits, but the popular consensus is that it resides somewhere in the constellation of Ophiuchus. The most reasonable candidate put forth is the star 36 Ophiuchi b. Lying 19.41 light-years from Sol, this star is part of a trinary star system consisting of 3 main sequence orange dwarfs, with B being of spectral type K1. This gives it a mass of 0.85 solar masses and a luminosity of just 36% that of Sol. Given these parameters, we can calculate the orbital radius of Giedi Prime to be approximately 1.79 astronomical units. At this distance, the planet would receive only 11% of the energy that Earth receives from its sun. Even assuming the lowest and most beneficial albedo for the planet, it is still left with an equilibrium temperature over 100 degrees below Earth's. However, given the abundance of greenhouse gases said to be present in Giedi Prime's atmosphere from centuries of industrial pollution and volcanic activity, it is possible that the planet could possess enough thermal insulation to give it the Earth-like temperature range it is reported to have. Alternatively, it has been suggested that Giedi Prime instead orbits the star Alpha 1 Capricorni, due to this star traditionally being known to Western astronomers by the name Prima Giedi. While this seems pretty conclusive, Alpha 1 Capricorni is a monstrous yellow supergiant star with a mass 5 times larger than our Sun and a luminosity 1,047 times higher. If the planet Giedi Prime orbited this star with its reported period, it would possess no atmosphere and a surface temperature of more than 11,000 degrees. Further complicating the discussion, the 2024 film Dune Part 2 depicted Giedi Prime orbiting a dark sun, the light of which strips the color from the planet's surface. But this lies well within the realm of artistic liberty and sci-fi silliness, as dark suns have no real-world counterpart. So how does Giedi Prime measure up scientifically? No credible data is available for the planet's geophysical properties. The only quoted parameter is its surface gravity, and that comes from the manual of a tabletop role-playing game that is decidedly non-canonical, as it also quotes different values for the planet's rotation and orbital periods than what are generally accepted as accurate. So all geophysical information presented herein must be treated with skepticism. 0 points. Aside from its orbital period, no data is given for the planet's orbital characteristics. But if Giedi Prime does indeed orbit the star 36 Ophiuchi b, then its canonical orbital period places the semi-major axis of its orbit too far from its Sun to be stable. This, according to a 1996 paper by Erwin et al., which determined the limit of stable planetary orbits around 36 Ophiuchi b to be less than 1.5 astronomical units. So, -1 point. If we only look at Giedi Prime's energy balance, then it is possible that it could potentially have the climate it is said to have. However, a deeper look into the many factors at play brings this conclusion into question. Given the low amount of energy reaching the planet, it may not be able to maintain a consistent water cycle. This would largely depend on how much oceanic coverage remains, where the water is located on the planet, and any annual changes in temperature due to obliquity of the planet's rotation or eccentricity of its orbit. But if its water cycle is impeded, then this could also affect its carbon cycle, reducing the amount of rock weathering and ocean acidification, and even slowing tectonic recycling of the lithosphere. On Earth, even small disruptions of these cycles can lead to catastrophic results. Whether this would be the case on Giedi Prime is unclear, as it is a terraformed world that does not rely on a biosphere for its stability, as Earth does. But given all these potential issues and uncertainties, calling its climate realistic would be too much of a stretch. -1 point. Giedi Prime does not possess any natural satellites. While this is quite atypical for a science fiction planet, it is very typical of a real terrestrial planet, so +1 point. If Giedi Prime orbits 36 Ophiuchi b, then I must give its stellar realism a positive score, as that is a real star. And it is a good choice of star for a science fiction planet. Orange dwarfs are very stable and long-lived stars, making them perfect not only for fictional planets, but also in our real-world search for extraterrestrial life. However, due to the planet's naming, I suspect that Frank Herbert intended it to orbit the massive late-stage star of the same name. Indeed, there seems to be a pattern in Dune of placing the key planets around dying stars, perhaps as a metaphor for some of the themes explored in the story. But that is just speculation on my part, so I'll go ahead and award it the point. With a score of 0 points, the planet of Giedi Prime from Dune receives an E grade. Not a good score for a science fiction planet, but I suspect I gave it a far higher score than what its average inhabitant would rate it. Thank you for joining me on this analysis of the planet Giedi Prime from Dune. From here, I'll be engaging my Holtzman engine and navigating fold space to another distant alien world. I hope to see you there.